With a fearsome 22-kilometre climb to finish the stage, the Jayco Herald Sun Tour should see its first shuffle of the general classification today, as the peloton travels 117.6 kilometres from Beechworth to Falls Creek. The first half of the final ascent is undulating, before a solid uphill grind in the last 15 kilometres, with the steepest sections towards the top. Let's find out who conquered the creek. After a flurry of early attacks, it was yesterday's most combative rider, Ben Hill, alongside Angus Lyons of Oliver's Real Food Racing, making the early running. 20 kilometres in, and it seemed as though we were set for the day, but a 5-rider group behind were on their way to join the duo. Genki Yamamoto of Kinnan Cycling Team, Bentley Nikwe Olden of Nero Continental, Luke Mudgway of Black Spoke, and the Avolo duo of Cade Bickmore and Scott McGill made the junction after about 30 kilometres, with a lead of 3 minutes over the peloton at this point. There were bonuses on offer at the first intermediate sprint after 47 kilometres. We saw the young American Bickmore get his wheel in front of Mudgway. Lyons didn't want any part of that sprint, and that's because he had bigger fish to fry, attacking the leaders with 55 kilometres still to run. Ben Hill, though, doggedly determined as ever, hung with him until the second intermediate sprint near the foot of the final climb, before eventually waving goodbye to Lyons as we started that final ascent. It would be a tough ask for the 24-year-old at this point, now with only just over a minute's advantage over the Sunweb-led peloton. We did lose live pictures for a while, but once we returned we saw fresh attacks from the bunch in the form of Salvador Guardiola of Kinnan, the peloton now much reduced with nearly half the climb in the legs. Mitchelton Scott now hitting the front and mopping up both Lyons and Guardiola with 13 kilometres to go. Next came a popular attack from EF Pro Cycling's Lachlan Morton, a man who's won plenty of fans after racing Dirty Kanza, the Leadville 100 and GB Giro last year. And it seems to be doing no harm to his fitness. He was crushing a big gear up these slopes, but it wouldn't be long before he had company. Jay Vine of Nero Continental and the bunch not far down the hill, and surprisingly this was the point where we saw Simon Yates shelled out the back. The Volta España winner was touted by many to be a stage favourite, but it wouldn't be his day today at least. Vine and Morton were both reeled in by the group of favourites, controlled by Sunweb's Michael Storer, as more and more riders started to lose ground. Number 17 here is Jimmy Whelan of EF Pro Cycling. Hindley made his move after Storer peeled off with 2.5 to go. Only a handful of riders left at this point, including Nilsson Paulus, Damien Howson and Rob Power. The only non-World Tour rider in this group was the mightily impressive Sebastian Berwick, riding for St George Continental, and he was giving them all a run for their money in the finale, ultimately dropping Power and rendering Paulus powerless. It was Berwick who led out the sprint for the line, but it was Hindley who was out of the saddle and a little bit more springy on the pedals. He held off a lunge to the line from Howson to make it 2 wins in 2 for Team Sunweb, and drawing first blood in the fight for the yellow jersey. As we look at the top 10, we can see massive time gaps already. Paulus limiting his losses in 4th at 13 seconds, with Storer in 5th and Jesse Hewitt in 6th, the only riders to finish within a minute of the stage winner. Well, Howson and Hindley look to reignite that friendly rivalry from the 2017 Herald Sun Tour. This time it's Hindley that takes the win on top of Falls Creek to take a slender lead on GC thanks to bonus seconds. And how about Sebastian Berwick? Have we just uncovered the next great Australian talent today? Only time will tell as the Jayco Herald Sun Tour continues tomorrow for Stage 3. As usual, you can catch all the action right here on GCN Racing.